we're talking about is cross-cultural terms and principles in healthcare, because this is a healthcare class. As a healthcare worker, you are going to be dealing with people of all classes. You're going to deal with different cultures, different religions. So you have to at least be a little bit knowledgeable of this, because if you see something like this, you cannot go in there and be like, oh my God, what are you doing? This is their belief. Just like you believe that by laying hands on someone and praying for them, that God will heal them. They believe that they're cleansing this person's aura, their spirit, of evil and imperfections. We have acceptable gestures and unacceptable gestures, and you need to understand these when you're dealing with different cultures, because the last thing you want to do is to point at someone and then have someone be insulted, because it is an insult. Communication is very important in healthcare, because if people do not understand what you're saying, it's hard to talk. It's hard for them to be able to understand the lessons that you're giving them. Because we teach, as a healthcare profession, our job is to teach people how to be healthy. And religion is a part of this. So, basic beliefs in culture. Culture is a commonality among individuals and different groups. So they have basic beliefs. They have a moral, ethical code and a certain behavior. Values, language, communication styles, customs, reflects in feasts and celebrations. They have clothing that they wear. One example of this is your Muslims, where they wear the complete dresses where the only thing showing is their face. Grooming and rituals, as you saw on the last video. Prejudices. And one of the reasons why I showed you the video is because of this. Because if you see this, would we not feel a religious prejudice? We would feel like our religion is superior, when it's not. You see an aging person and you think, oh, they're too old to do that. They can't do that. You see someone driving a car and they have gray hair, and you hear someone say, oh, they're gray-headed, that's why they can't drive. They're a woman, they can't drive. They're a Jew, they're tight, they don't spend no money. They're all rich. You have physical prejudices. We see someone that's handicapped, so therefore we automatically assume that this person is unable to perform a task, but they may be able to. Someone is slow in learning to read, so we assume they can't do anything. Whereas if you hand them something, they could probably take apart and put together a piece of equipment faster than you could. So we have these prejudices, and we have to make sure, guys, that we keep an open mind. You always want to look for additional information. Look at the person, meet them, talk to them, ask them questions about the religion. Ask them why they believe it. Let them explain it to you. They are your best source. But before you go in there to talk to them, make sure you've researched. Make sure you've looked it up. Because as we grow up, and right here, evaluate all information, and we live in an area where we have a lot of non-ethical people. We don't have a lot of these ethnicity groups, the African Americans, Asian Americans, European Americans. We don't have Hispanic Americans, Middle Eastern. We do have some Arabic. We have a few Native Americans, but that's about it. So our parents, their parents, and their parents before them said things, taught them things that are not true. So then we grow up believing them. That just because they're, a colored African American, they're lazy. And because of that, we have this belief system they're not true. And we buy into it because we don't look further. So, and if you see someone, let's say with ethnicity, culture, and race, race is a human population that is considered a distinct based on physical characteristics such as being white, black, Latin. So we characterize people in a race by their color or their nationality. The acculturation is the exchange of cultural features when people mingle. How many of you all pick up your friends' traits? You're around your friends for a while, so you start picking up things. The same thing happens in cultures. When two cultures mingle or they're side by side, they'll start picking up traits from the other one. We also have space issues. Some cultures have no space issues while others do. Two people talking intimately is considered 18 inches or closer. People speaking moderate distance, kind of a social distance, or friendly distance, 18 inches to 3 feet. This is kind of common for the U.S. Okay, most of us like our personal space, and it's usually about arm length. Talking socially, we tend to stand farther apart. We don't get close to people. These are people we're not close to, we're not intimate with. When we're talking to people we don't know, we tend to stand further back. It's an unconscious thing, but it happens. But some cultures, as we see here, you have your more distant cultures, which guess what is us? Okay, we're one of them. Then you go down through here, and we get into your South America and Mexico and these countries. These are close contact, which means that it's very common for them when they're speaking to you, they stand really close, which then can make us feel uncomfortable. And that's where setting boundaries and telling people, hey, I don't feel comfortable with you standing that close. Could you please stand a little further away? Most people are going to accept that. Gestures. This is okay for us, okay? It's okay for us to say, come here. It's a taboo for calling a person or even a child. In other words, they consider it like calling a dog. And it's very insulting. Especially with specific cultures. And usually Asian cultures is your big one for the finger gestures, okay?